Yeah, let's just get the elephant out of the room. The Lakers lose by 30, 115 to 85. And I personally am going to put this on LeBron James. And here's why. Everybody follows the path of the leader. LeBron James is the leader. These are my guys. He comes out with zero energy, zero effort. I believe he had like 7 points throughout most of the first half. He wasn't being aggressive, and we already know Anthony Davis wasn't going to play. So, what's the point in going in there passive? He walked into the game and he led his teammates into the game like how a cow or a pig goes in for slaughter. Very slow, methodical, like, we're not gonna sweat it. We're not slated to win this game anyway. The way that he played the game is like he was watching TV with all the critics saying that they're gonna lose, and he just gave up. And LeBron has a propensity to do this sometimes. He has these games where he just walks in and he gives up. You know what I'm saying? You saw it in Miami. You saw it last night. You even saw it when they were up like, I believe they were up like 2-1 against the Golden State Warriors. And he came in high, a little bit high energy. Then he just kind of gave up throughout the rest of the game. And it's just like, he was just like, it is what it is. We're going to lose anyway. That kind of mentality. And this is why, for me personally, LeBron James can never necessarily be the GOAT or whatever the case is, however you want to call it, is due to the simple fact. He is a numbers guy. He's a guy that is like, if it doesn't make sense, why try kind of guy. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's like, especially when you think about the Spurs series, like how when they were down 20, he would just be like, all right, well, we're down 20, let's get out of the game. He wouldn't really be trying. And, the Spurs had an excuse to do that because back in the day, because they were older. These guys was like 37, 36, 38. That makes sense for them to do that. But LeBron in his prime, he's like, all right, well, we lost this game. Let's just sit down. He's a numbers guy. He's a guy where it's like, I'm not going to take that shot because it might hurt my average. I'm not going to try to jack up a whole bunch of shots because, it's gonna hurt this or whatever the case is. Even his fans are numbers people. So they'll be like, LeBron averaged 26, 28, and 10 in the series, or in the finals he averaged almost a triple double. But did you win the finals? The most important stat, did you win? And that they completely gloss over that. They focus on all these other numbers, and that's how LeBron is. He focuses on all these other numbers as opposed to the intangibles sometimes, which is competing, energy, effort. I don't have Anthony Davis, so F it. We're gonna go all out. We're gonna try to win this game. For you to be down 30 in the first half, it's no energy, no effort. It's you. It's not the other team. The other team is great. The Suns are great. They're a solid team. But that's you. You're down 30. That's you. And we can't coach energy. We can't coach effort. As far as all the other guys, Kuzma and all this other stuff, I didn't expect them to do much anyway. But they're just following the leader. So I'm going to put 80% of the blame on LeBron for that one. That was bad. He laid an egg. He can have 20. Here's what they're going to say. He had 24 points. That doesn't matter because they didn't even compete. They didn't compete. And LeBron got to take the hit for that. These are your guys. This is my team. You got to take the heat for what you did. That was putrid. That was awful. And there's been games where Anthony Davis didn't play. They didn't get blown out by 30. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Frank Vogel, he's going to have to pull out all the stops game 6. The Lakers are in deep trouble. They're going to have to do something big and bold to win out game 6, especially if AD doesn't play. So, that's all. Nets and Celtics, Brooklyn wins in 5. KD, Harden, and Kyrie, they came in so strong towards the end of the game. It wasn't a blowout really until towards the end of the game. They started like creating separation. And, we didn't expect the Celtics to win the game anyway. It's surprising that they actually got a game. But and I think the Nets kind of like just like said whatever. Here's what bothers me. Celtics lose the series. Celtics have been losing series. The farthest they got is when they got to I believe it was the Eastern Conference Finals when LeBron was in Cleveland. So back in 2018, about 3 years ago. Danny Ainge steps down, and he relinquishes the keys to the kingdom to Brad Stevens. So Brad Stevens, let me get it straight. You lose a series. You've been losing series and underachieving in the playoffs consistently. You only have one solid run. One time, one solid run. Consistently losing the playoffs, consistently knocked out in early rounds. He doesn't get fired. He gets a promotion to basketball operations. Certain privileges, people shouldn't be afforded to have them. Brad Stevens should really be treated like all the other coaches that if they have a losing record or they couldn't make noise or whatever the case is, you can't do that. In his press conference, it foreshadowed his upgrade to the position. He said, this series just taught us that we have to get better. We have to get better at certain positions. He was talking like a GM already. And for him to get that promotion makes absolutely no sense to me. No experience. Not a good track record on the court with coaching the guys. He lost the series, lost a bunch of series prior to that. He lost the locker room, and now you give him promotion. Go figure. Denver and Portland. This series aggravates me so much, but it makes sense why. You're looking at a Portland team where Damian Iillard, first player in NBA history, 55 and 10 assists. Went 12 for 17, hit like 10 threes. After he was raining down so many threes and so many clutch shots and sending stuff into overtime, double overtime, when he missed a shot, Austin Rivers said, "Thank you, God." That's how bad it was that he was raining down shots on him. But there's a problem with Portland, and they're going to have to split up CJ and Dame. Portland plays no defense. They have no defensive grit. So if they don't get rid of CJ and Dame, they're going to have to get rid of Coach Terry Stotts. That was unacceptable. How do you give up 147 points? Same thing with Denver. How do you give up 140 points? But here's why everything comes down to making sense for me. Denver has better bigs, guys that could defend just a little bit better. Just a little bit better than Portland. Because if you think about it, Dame went off for 55. Nobody else really did anything. And, some of my colleagues are saying that, hey, Dame just needs a guy that can score with him. Dame needs a team that can defend. Dame could get you 30 to 40 by himself easily. But the way they play defense is horrible. Jokic was getting everything in the lane. The shot that really sealed it, a three in the corner by Michael Porter Jr. They sent a half-hearted double team. They didn't even hard double. They didn't try to deflect the ball or nothing. Nothing to that nature. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, they didn't drill any defense down the stretch at all. Their double teams were horrible. When they sent a double team, Jokic could see it coming. Coach Terry Stotts got to take the blame for that. But all the rest of the guys, especially CJ McCollum, like some of the things he did, he cost them the game, stepping out of bounds, taking ill-advised threes, taking threes like early in the game. And when I'm watching that series, right, Portland and Denver, because they're basically the same team. And they're like a mirror image of each other. The only difference is Jokic is like their version of Damian Lillard, right? Here's the difference. The shot selection. Denver tries to move the ball a little bit better, but Denver is not a saint in terms of shot selection. Portland is horrible. They walk up the court, they jack up a three. Walk up the court, jack up. Guys, I feel like Patrick Ewing. What was that shot? Step back, one-legged shot. Do you practice that shot? Do you work on that shot? Do you drill that shot? I never seen you shoot that shot before. And besides Dame, all the shots that were being taken by Portland and a lot in Denver, it was just like, what kind of shots are these? Like, these don't make sense. And this is why if Portland loses the series, their defense is a big problem with it. But also, there's no ball movement. There's nobody else touching the ball, running a play, trying to run things through Nurkic. It's none of that. Like, all the guys, man, and to me, it's not an offensive problem. If you can get 140 in a game, that's not the problem. The problem is you can't get any stops. And until Portland recognizes that and actually makes some trades for some defensive, they're going to have to get rid of CJ. They're going to get rid of CJ, try to get Buddy Hield, or try to get like a shooting guard that is a solid two guard. Like, if Portland had like a Klay Thompson, they'll be set. They'll be real set. They just can't play any defense. And it showed. They gave up 147 points. And this is not NBA Live on Easy or Pro. This is not NBA 2K on Easy or Pro. This is an NBA game where they're giving up 147 points. You guys remember when they went to triple overtime, I believe it was 2 years ago, Game 7 against the Portland Trailblazers Denver Nuggets. It was like 155 to 150. They've already had series like this, and that's absolutely ridiculous. They got to dial in the defense if they want to stay alive. I know Dame had a great game, and it hates to see it get spoiled, but at the end of the day, they didn't get the W. And that they didn't get the W. It wasn't because of Dame. It was because of the defense. And the defense is terrible. Who's Junction? Who's Hoopla? Like, comment, subscribe.